Hey guys, welcome back to the show. It's the great Ace Attorney Chronicles again, and we turned things around in the last episode. We were cross-examining Miss Brett, and we found a photograph that seems to have certain peculiarities about it, and the judge already wanted to rule us guilty, but we prevented it, and now we're gonna claim something. I really don't know what. So let's just get into it and see what Ryunosuke has to say. Wait, Your Excellency! Ryunosuke, I don't think you can rule on this case yet.
Objection! This amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. This is the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Yes! Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print just submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter and I must make my ruling. Now that means that if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail I mean, then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
Objection! This is blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographic print. All it shows is the handbag on the gentlewoman's carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence.
You'd better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke.
I understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fear to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag.
Ha! My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezies.
Yes, I'm desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it.
Very well. I will grant the defense one final opportunity.
What?
But be warned that if I am unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, Your Excellency.
So take another look at the photographic print Inspector Osanaga submitted before. You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail to which you have alluded.
Okay, I really don't have a clue, guys. I really don't know what Ryunosuke picked up upon. So the handbag seems to be fine. Is it maybe that the table... It must be this, right? Must be this thing.
Yes!
Look at this. Look at this here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist.
That is true. It looks like a burn of some description.
Objection! Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? See, clearly that has nothing whatsoever to do with a magnificent lady's handbag.
Yes, that is a burn mark. You're right. Go on, Inspector.
The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination.
It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report.
What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either.
The more I look at it, find myself intrigued by the curious shape of this mark. However, as Prosecutor Aochi points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the Dean and other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now.
Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway.
What's your thinking on this, Jinosuke? Do you believe this burn does have something to do with the case?
To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging, in the hope that I might uncover something useful.
Yes, you're right.
I am? If you can just link that burn to the case. If you can do that, we might be able to prise this shutting door back open again.
Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that.
Indeed. I'm afraid that without evidence, I can't allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture.
But if we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then you would allow it?
I would, yes.
To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between that burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what that burn really means.
So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates an inextricable connection between the victim's burn and this trial.
Okay. Okay. That's the post-mortem report. We didn't have a look at that one either, right? Okay, so that's not it. I don't think that here. Because I have no clue, people. I really have no clue what the connection might be. Okay, it's not this. Oh, okay, I just found it, I think. Alright, so let's present this then. The crime scene photograph.
Yes!
What's this, Counsel? Yet another print?
Yes, Your Excellency, I believe photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at the scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore.
Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further really would be quite inexcusable.
Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have that unusual shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore.
What?
How?
Objection!
You can't
Fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
Yeah, we already checked that out. thankfully. Gonna present. Oops. Oh, oops. Okay, I pushed the wrong button. So it's this. And oops, once again. Oh, that's painful.
Yes! The beefsteak?
Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on. Plate? Oh!
Your Excellency, are you alright?
As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark of La Carnival. Oh. This emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn
Are exactly the same shape. Ah!
Inosuke, you genius! You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection! But even if that is the case, if we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, the day before that. It most likely happened at some other unrelated time.
Well,
Objection!
sadly, Prosecutor Aochi, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks.
Why?
The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion in the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly.
But...
I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not a particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. It was no mild burn, that's for sure. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of La Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation.
But you're a detective, not a waiter! Yes!
There you have it! Something isn't right here! As the detective said, anyone who burned themselves on a piping hot plate for the 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream. Not on the day or any before it. That's right, and the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day, that would be beyond careless, I think, counsel. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, and the old antiques dealer, all of us would without any question have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Aochi?
Well, yes, I suppose.
So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it. Yunosuke, do you think... Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already deceased, I think. Because this doesn't make sense, right? He hadn't noticed the burn because you would if you're, unless your hand is numb or something. He wasn't asleep. If he were asleep, he would wake up from the burn, so he was already deceased. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. What's clearly impossible, apart from in one particular situation.
Counsel, are you suggesting?
Yes, it's only possible if the man was already dead.
Oh, already?
Dead?
Knowing what we know now is the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead.
That's madness!
Okay, things turn around very quickly here. Order, 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 please. Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot.
That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp of the facts.
No, Prosecutor Aochi, it's you who has no grasp of the facts.
I beg your pardon?
As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true as we now believe that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it.
Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. Nobody did, dear judge. Nobody. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement.
But Your Excellency!
The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I'm prepared to pass judgment.
Thank you, Your Excellency. What was that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours.
Miss Brett, you speak Japanese?
Well, of course I do. I'm studying in your country after all.
But then why you have been speaking through an interpreter until now?
My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible.
Oh, harsh words, dear lady.
But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level.
Oh, well...
You are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you so graciously afford us.
I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson.
So we're finally going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. Alright, so the testimony by... okay, let's just get into this. We still have some time. Let's hear the testimony for sure. The victim's death. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death beside the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. Oh my god, okay. A gentlewoman, huh?
That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you.
Easy does it.
I hope that is the last time I will have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming language.
Tongue, sorry.
Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone.
Not at all, not at all. It's a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant.
I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today.
The Minister of Justice?
May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen.
Amen. Huh? Thanks? Was that a prayer then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with a cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much.
I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Excellency.
Then you may proceed with the cross-examination.
And there we are. Alright guys, though this will take some time as you already seen in the previous episodes. So I'm gonna cut this a little bit short. You'll have to wait for the cross-examination. I'm really sorry about that, but it's the way it is right now. So thanks so much for watching and see you on the next episode of The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles.